My name is Sophia. I'm the CanAvian coordinator, and I'm going to be talking about how we as CanAvian are furthering biodiversity research through a national data space. So birds are among the best studied animals in the world. However, bird data is collected in different ways by many different people and it is stored in different places. And this can make it difficult to find and access the data you need. That's why we're working towards a national data space for bird data in Canada. The CanAvian community is built around bird data, where our community members collect, interpret, and manage and share data to further the understanding and the conservation of birds. We're working towards a national data space where we have independently developed biodiversity data systems, which are working together on the basis of interoperability, which depends on shared policy, trust, and technical exchange. So CanAvian was formed in 2019 by Birds Canada, the Alberta Biodiversity Monitoring Institute, Biodiversity Pathways, and Environment and Climate Change Canada. These groups were all creating and curating large avian datasets and research software tools independently and came together as CanAvian to improve access and interoperability of these datasets. Currently, these partners manage several biodiversity data resources, which are used to store and interpret biodiversity data. These resources have both national and international reach. CanAvian itself does not store any data. Instead, it connects platforms which already do. Our focus is on collaboration and interoperability. So today, CanAvian is a formalized partnership which includes some of the largest biodiversity data platforms in Canada. Our focus is avian data in Canada. However, our platforms have data from many species across many different countries. Together, these different data platforms have billions of records and engage over 850 organizations with 35,000 registered users worldwide. Each platform retains its own mandate, community, infrastructure, and data holder relationships, but CanAvian aligns the governance, the standards, policies, and data exchange pathways across these systems. We prioritize collaboration, not consolidation. We are now a part of a pilot program by the Digital Research Alliance of Canada, or DRAC, which is working to establish a national data space. Over the next 2 years, with DRAC support, we are formalizing shared data policy, focusing on FAIR data, which is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, with a focus on CARE principles, which are the collective benefit, authority to control, responsibility, and ethics. And we're very excited to be working towards shared standards and interoperability, a shared governance structure, and building up the CanAvian community. Our aim is to have trusted and connected bird data that supports conservation and research decisions. So why does this matter? CanAvian aims to connect data with users who support bird research and conservation in Canada and across the world. High-quality information organized in a user-friendly way with set standards and tools makes it easier for researchers and conservation groups, communities, and decision makers to access information and use it to better understand and conserve birds. This comprehensive, high-quality, harmonized data is critical for researchers which are applying new analytical techniques that rely on large, harmonized data sets. That research is essential both for understanding and conserving birds and for fulfilling international commitments like the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. By aligning standards and reducing duplicated effort, we keep bird data accessible, well-managed, and useful for the people who rely on it. Bird data is a natural place to start for this pilot, but what we learn can be used to help improve how all biodiversity data is collected, managed, and shared. So thank you so much for your time. We've made a forum post, which I'll link in the chat in a second here, which includes some of the following questions. But if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to hear how you can see yourself in the CanAvian community. If you see yourself in the CanAvian community, what does that look like for you? And if not, how do you think data community in your part of the world could interact with CanAvian data space? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great talk. We have 1 minute, and I have a question from one of my team actually, which was, if another country wanted to build a CanAvian-like initiative, what would be your first piece of advice?
I would say start with the projects which already exist. Start by looking at what are the data resources that are currently there and who's working to share data, and start with more of a ground-up approach. That's the approach that we're taking, and it's following similar to things like CanBon and other bond processes which work on biodiversity data, but we're looking at what's already there and how can we support those groups and work towards more interoperability and collaboration to make that data go farther and mean more.
Thank you very much.